The last broadcast they thought it was just a late-night radio signal, until they realized the voices were calling their names. In the small town of Marlow, tucked deep in the Appalachian Mountains, locals had one strange tradition. They never turned on the radio after midnight. No one explained why. It was just a warning, passed down like an old superstition. Outsiders laughed, of course, until a college student named Daniel moved there in 2012. Daniel was a journalism major, renting a small cabin on the edge of town while working on his thesis about rural folklore. When he first heard the warnings, no radio after midnight, no matter what, he thought it was perfect material for his paper. He decided he would test it himself. On a cold October night, Daniel stayed awake until 12:15 a.m. He switched on his old FM radio, flipping through static, until he landed on something unusual. At first, it was a faint humming like a choir without words. Then, a woman's voice whispered through the crackling, "Daniel, Daniel." His heart froze. Nobody knew he was doing this experiment. Yet the voice was sharp, intimate, and unmistakable. He quickly switched it off, laughing nervously to himself. He convinced himself it was coincidence. But the next night, curiosity won. At 12:30, he turned it on again. The same frequency, only this time, the voice wasn't alone. There were multiple voices, overlapping, almost chanting. Among them, he heard something that made his blood run cold. His late grandmother's voice, calling the childhood nickname only she used for him. Daniel slammed the radio off, trembling. The cabin felt heavier now, like something unseen was pressing against the walls. He barely slept. The following morning, he mentioned it casually at the local diner. The chatter stopped. An old man named Henry leaned forward and whispered, "They found you, didn't they?" Henry explained. Decades ago, in the 1970s, a local AM station had a freak accident. A fire gutted the building during a live broadcast, trapping 3 hosts and a handful of callers still on the line. None of them made it out. Since then, every October, the voices returned, bleeding through static. At first, they just whispered. Then they called names, and those who listened long enough vanished. Daniel, skeptical but shaken, promised himself he wouldn't tune in again. But that night, as he tried to sleep, his radio turned on by itself. Static filled the cabin, and his name echoed, louder now. Daniel opened the door. Shaking, he unplugged it. Yet the voices didn't stop. They seeped into the silence. He stuffed the radio in a drawer, wrapped in towels. Still, at exactly 3 a.m., the voices came again, this time from the hallway. He grabbed his phone and called the sheriff. But all he heard was static on the line. Then, beneath the static, a chilling phrase, "We're almost there." In pure panic, Daniel ran outside to his car. The night air was eerily still. No wind, no sound of crickets. But as he turned the key, his headlights flickered and he saw them. Dozens of shadowy figures lined the tree line, their mouths open wide, whispering his name in unison. He sped away, not stopping until he reached Henry's farmhouse. The old man opened the door, pale as death. "You listened twice, didn't you?" Henry asked. Daniel nodded. Henry shook his head. "Then they'll come a third time. They always do." For 3 nights, Daniel stayed with Henry, never alone, never turning on a single electronic device. On the 4th night, just before dawn, Henry woke up to silence, too much silence. Daniel was gone. His bed was empty, the window wide open. The only thing left behind was his radio, sitting neatly on the nightstand. It was switched off, yet faint static hissed from its speakers. To this day, Daniel's disappearance is unsolved. His thesis project was found in his cabin, with only one line written at the bottom. The last broadcast is never recorded, only answered. If you ever hear your name whispered through static after midnight, would you turn off the radio, or listen to what it has to say?